Can you talk about what went into the sound of the sandworms?
Yeah, that went through an evolution because I thought it would be a lot more interesting rather than playing the vocalizations of the worms, which is kind of the go-to, kind of the obvious choice, right? When a big creature opens its maw and you see inside of it, the audience's expectation is to hear some vocalization. Well, I kind of thought, well, they're the only large creature in this entire environment. They would really have no evolutionary reason to roar, to threaten something else. They have no threat. They have no natural enemies except each other. So I thought it'd be a lot more interesting to convey their scale. These things are kilometers long, and they're probably thousands of tons of meat that just fly through the desert like a freight train. And I thought it'd be a lot more interesting to make their interaction with the environment the sound, and thereby accentuate their mass and their scale and their sheer power. So we did a lot of work with large objects moving through sand, over sand, under sand. We buried microphones in the sand and dragged large objects over them. We recorded a lot of grit that way that then we were then able to pitch and manipulate and make feel more massive. Particularly for Paul's worm ride, the wind was a big critical factor that I think makes it feel really threatening and scary. And I wanted it to feel almost like a storm at sea, like he's barely hanging on for dear life and being, whipped by wind and waves of sand. It was almost like a scene out of Master and Commander, or almost like he was surfing on this huge thing, trying to gain control of it while it's trying to buck him off. It's twisting so that he gets closer and closer to the ground and might get crushed underneath it. And so the scene just had to have this feeling of terrifying chaos, like anything could happen. Only when he begins to master it, you get the feeling that, yeah, he's now gaining control of it. Doug did a very cool, dramatic frequency shift out of the sound effects into a much more subdued sound effects field, into heroic music as Paul stands up and finally has control.